vlog. This is going to be the story of my cat, Bliss, and how she went from being a lab cat and tested on in Oklahoma to in my home. With your permission, of course, we're going to tell your story. Moment for the sweater. We're modeling. You're modeling. Yes. Model. Yes. Model. Yes. Bliss shot. Bliss. There's other reasons she has the sweater. We're gonna get to them. 2 years ago, I was looking for a cat. I really specifically wanted a male orange kitten. Bliss was 2 years old, a female, and it is black and white tuxedo. So clearly that's not where things went. This rescue place, I don't even remember the name of it, and I don't even care to put their name out here. There was over 40 cats just roaming around in this place. Like, you could tell, it wasn't that the staff treated them poorly, it was the fact that they were understaffed, and clearly there weren't enough funds to take care of all of these animals. And I wanted specifically a cat that I bonded with, and that's why it took me so long and I went to so many different places, because I couldn't find that. So as I'm leaving, a cat that I didn't see the whole time we were there hops down and starts to follow me and my sister, Tori, who you guys have met previously, starts to follow us out the door. I'm like, you can't come with me, but I want you to. Found out her name was Oreo. Do you remember your name being Oreo? Me. They tell me she was a test subject in a lab. Basically, aka how we got Bliss the Lab Cat. All I know about her past tested on in lab situation, and all that they know, is that she was rescued from a laboratory in Oklahoma. They were doing some sort of testing with shots on how to spay colonies of cats by injecting them instead of surgically spaying them. Don't know how that went, what happened. All I know is she ended up being surgically spayed by them or someone. Someone surgically spayed her. It wasn't me. I didn't bring her to the vet for that. But the vet has checked that out. She's spayed. Oh my god. Poor baby. Okay. They do a complimentary vet check. I get her like 2 weeks later. I bring her home. And then they say, you know, go to the vet yourself. Make sure everything's good. Their vet check came back. She's all good. Awesome. Great. I bring her to the vet. Weird. There's some weird things happening. This is when I first went to the amazing vet that I go to. They are so great. Fast forward to a few appointments of going, trying to figure things out. She is like attacking her ears. She is like coughing. It's just all this weird stuff. First and foremost, we find out she has double ear infection. So immediately we know that the place did not do a thorough check, because she did not get an ear infection in 2 days of being with me. She had like cuts in her ears and like a whole like little piece of her ear missing. We find out she's having a lot of GI issues. That was like the biggest thing initially. GI, like, you know, you can assume. The other thing that was really alarming was that she was vomiting like 6 to 7 times a day. Now, I know cats vomit and get hairballs, but these weren't hairballs. I also never saw her lick herself, ever. She did not lick herself. Thought it was weird behavior. So I'm kind of clocking like these behaviors and these little like tallying up all these things. We get the ear infection settled. We go back for the GI stuff. We do like a full panel of like all this stuff. You can do like regular stool sample. We did that. They came back fine. Then we did like more in-depth stool sample. So IBD, SIBO, and she also had Campylobacter. So we treated Campylobacter, and then we put her on Tylenol powder. So we're still on Tylenol powder to this day. Help regulate some GI things. What's going on in litter box still doesn't look awesome, but it's better. We're still figuring out this vomiting and GI issues closely, because they're not solved. It's kind of chronic. It's going to be ongoing. With that being said, we're still having a lot of vomiting. It's like a huge issue. We go back. They're looking at all these different things without testing, because allergy tests are so much money. They say it's very common with all of these symptoms. They had a bunch of different ones. I don't remember. To be honest, this was 2 years ago. We have moved on to bigger and better, not better, but bigger problems. We think she's probably allergic to chicken, fish, and beef, which is quite literally you go into a store, a pet store, every single thing is either salmon, chicken, beef, fucking tuna, something. It's all that. We get her on a prescribed diet. Now, she hated the wet food. Wet food was awful. We're doing dry food. I heard horrible things about dry food and had bad experiences with dry food in cats and my previous cats that I've owned. I addressed that with the vet. They're very nice and validating, like I said, they always are. And they just said to add extra bowls of water around so she can stay hydrated. So I'm like, okay, we're doing that. Things are going well. We go back again. Problems are still arising. She's not really into her food. She doesn't want to eat, whatever. We look at her teeth. Not just gingivitis, which I forgot to mention before. That's kind of what we thought was going on. Stomatitis. What can you do? You have to remove all of the teeth. Every single tooth in her mouth. I don't have $5,000. I mean, granted, I've only had the cat for under a year at this point. We've been going to the vet all of the time. We're like, okay, we know what that is. Let's kind of keep an eye on it and see what we can do. We up Tylenol powder. That's been really helping. It's funny because it's like at this point I can't even remember why we were there once a month, but we were there every month. The longest we ever went was 4 months without going to the vet, but that hasn't happened yet. We were there very often, frequently, trying to figure these things out. We ended up getting a ultrasound of her stomach to see if there's anything else causing like the vomiting, the diarrhea, all the other GI stuff. We do that. Everything comes back cool. So we kind of are a little like relieved at that, but also there's still other problems going on. The biggest other problem that I was noticing was this cough, which I didn't even call it a cough. I called it dry heaving. She wasn't vomiting anymore, which we were thrilled about, but it was like this dry heaving. So that's why they did the ultrasound. And then when I was mentioning this, I finally got a video of it, and they said it almost seems like a little bit more of coughing. And I've never experienced this with any other cat that I've seen before, so I really had no idea what to do. They wanted to see again if something was stuck in her lungs, so she was still shaved from everything. We did that as well. They took a peek. Nothing was there. Nothing's in there. It is feline bronchitis, which is basically asthma, but apparently it's more serious in animals. Again, all these diagnostic things to give us more information. We're still having a lot of problems, and every couple weeks we're going into the vet because she has not moved in 3 days, has not ate, super lethargic. I wish I had this fresher in my memory because I know I'm missing so many details, but that's truly what it was like. It was just we kept going and they had to give her fluids and I couldn't get her to eat, and it was just pure panic. Like, I just was trying to keep this cat alive. They kept reassuring me she has a lot to live for and is happy, but she's in pain. Specifically, her teeth are probably the only thing causing her the most pain. So I'm like, okay, we need to get some funds together and get her teeth all removed. It's going to be a tough recovery. A year ago in March, we get her teeth removed for stomatitis. All teeth removed, no complications in the surgery. Thank God. It was so scary to like leave her there and be like, we don't know if she has other issues that like she's not gonna wake up from being under. Again, I'm talking like I know anything. At that point, I really didn't. I have learned so much in the past 2 years, especially this past year. We have a long recovery. I think it was about like a month. After the month, there was still swelling and like she was choking on her tongue. They kept looking and saying that everything in there looked great. We kept going back. Okay, well, she's still not eating. Like, there's still something going on. Now, this is the part I don't really remember the order of which. I think after they removed her teeth, we went on like antibiotics and different things. I can't remember if she was put on prednisone then, or if that came later. That basically was helping the inflammation. We kept going in because there was still issues with her. When she was put on the pred after the surgery to help, and like the antibiotics and everything, I think she also had a UTI at that time too. So the antibiotics helped the mouth, they helped that, the urinating, everything. Like, it was a full 360. The prednisone helped the inflammation of her mouth. It helped so much of like her GI issues, and also we have stopped coughing at this point. We are thrilled, okay? We go back for a few check-ins. I think May, we're like, that's the last time we go for check-in of like 2 months post-op. How's she doing? How are all of these other symptoms? She's doing great. We are thrilled. Of course, it's Bliss, and she always has like a little few things here and there, but nothing that was crazy enough for us to have to go back to the vet. With that being said, we still have challenges every day, and she has better days than other days, but she is no longer in pain. She has a great quality of life, they have assured me, and they even told me, which I hold very dear to my heart, and it's sad to even acknowledge, but a lot of people would have gotten rid of her, euthanized her, or gave her away at this point. I don't even think anyone would take her with the amount of things. I mean, she's so fucking cute, but she's happy and she is not in any pain. I'm thrilled. This pred is helping. They decide, let's just, you know, it's not great long term, but it's working right now. You guys haven't had a break. Let's stay on the pred. Let's just see what we can get and go from there. Keep the dose as low as we can without these symptoms coming back up. That was really helpful until August 11th. We had to go back because I was noticing the past couple weeks like frequent urination. I was noticing a lot of water intake. So I just thought if I have 2 bowls and I leave the water, I can see how much she's drinking throughout the day. And it was a lot. And she was urinating so much that I was cleaning the litter box every day. Oh my god, yeah. I was cleaning the litter box every day or every other day, and the whole entire litter box was one solid thing of pee. She wasn't going more often, but it was like when she was going, she was producing more urine. Whatever. If you need to know, you need to know. Who knows? Maybe that's happening to your cat. I would bring them in. We bring them in. They're like, this is pretty like classic diabetes, but we don't know. Like, let's do blood work. I mean, they always say it's bliss. It could be anything. We do blood work and I take her home and her vitals are good and we're just waiting for the results. And I get a call that says basically immediately bring your cat to the hospital. She's leaking ketones in her blood and urine, and that is a huge sign of diabetes. Like, this cat probably, most likely, definitely has diabetes. Panic. I shoved this cat in her carrier. We go straight to the hospital. They said she could be going to ketoacidosis, like the vet that called me. When we get there, immediately that's what I tell them. I'm like, she could have diabetes. We don't know. She got blood work done. She's spilling ketones, and we're afraid that she's going into ketoacidosis. DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis. They hear that, and they take her immediately. We did not even wait. That was August of this past year, August 2025. Basically, what ends up happening is they end up telling me that she has diabetes, and it's going to be a very, very difficult thing to manage with all of her other conditions. They said that it might get to a point where we have to euthanize her. Of course, I am just so beyond upset. I'm so sad. I didn't even know what to do. I still feel like I blacked out that conversation. It was just incredibly hard to hear that. But again, there's still a chance. It's just going to be way harder to manage, and they said way more of a toll on me financially, physically, mentally, emotionally, doing all of this stuff. They gave me the options of keeping her overnight, doing more tests, or if I thought I could bring her home and start to treat her myself. And I said, you know, let's take her home. If I was the richest person in the world, I would have left her there, but I also felt strong enough in my mind and my heart that I could do this. I give her insulin that first night. Every day I have to do it at the same time, twice a day, 12 hours, shot, sharps container, everything, how to drop the insulin, where to put it. I had to learn all this stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm getting all this information. I'm going with it. We come home. The next day we wake up. Her face is swollen and her eyes are literally shut. Her face is swollen and her eyes are literally shut. We got home at 3 a.m. and it is 7:30 because I'm about to feed her at 8 and do her insulin. Next morning I wake up and like I said, her face was swollen. I'm freaking out. I'm immediately calling the hospital. Like, is she allergic to fucking insulin? Knowing her, bring her, rush her in. She's not allergic to insulin, guys. It's just fucking conjunctivitis. Which I'm like, how the hell, out of all of this, did this one get pink eye? Really? We're back at the hospital for fucking conjunctivitis? So now she's getting insulin, pred, Tylenol powder. I mean, eye drops. That was like the worst week ever. It really was. And then they said, you know, make an appointment with your primary vet and they're gonna have to adjust your dosage. Like, this is just to get you through the weekend. We go on Monday. I'm like 2 days blind. Like, okay, insulin. What am I doing? Hoping I'm doing good. They put on what's called a Libre monitor, which you may have heard me speaking about. Libre monitor, it monitors her glucose levels. It does not give insulin. It just tells me where she's at roughly and records the trends. It's a lot of information that I had to learn that you don't have to, so we're just gonna fly past that. They put on this Libre monitor to see like where she's at and where we can get her to. Her glucose was like 450. Okay, let's go to 2 units. We do that. I'm looking at the Libre monitor. The vet can also see it. It's on her body. Only lasts for 14 days every monitor. So every 14 days we're going back to the vet getting a new monitor. The monitors are expensive. The vet visit, to put the monitor on. You guys can imagine, every 14 days. She still has them on to this day, and that's since freaking August. Still struggling to be able to manage this, and I have so much hope that I will forever and always have Bliss. She is happy. This girl is so happy. She is living her best life. She acts as though nothing is wrong with her. When she is really high or really low with her glucose, you would have no freaking idea. And that's the funny part that I joke about with the vets, because they know her to be the same and just like the easiest going. Like, you wouldn't know. The best cat with the most fucking issues and problems. Continuing on, we are doing this game of like going up on insulin every couple days for weeks. We're eventually at like 9 freaking units, okay? And we finally get her in the 300s, finally. I also got what's called an alpha track, which is basically like a glucose, like you prick and see it, and that's like more accurate than the Libre monitor. It's also, that was a learning curve too, is learning how to prick her. Oh my god. They do ears or paws. Paws can get infected and hurt them more, so I do ears. There's like one vein in the ear. Again, information you don't need to know, but holy fucking shit, I had to know it. I never thought it would be so hard to keep a cat alive, and to be totally honest, I got a cat because they're low maintenance. Don't regret it. Have no regrets. I love her. She's watching me. She knows I'm talking about her. 9 units is going and going and going, and all of a sudden, we have a day where we are low, which has not happened. Hypoglycemia. Totally scary. She is not acting in any kind of way, but she could see, like, there's all these symptoms. She could die. I mean, it's serious. It's very serious. It's serious with humans. I mean, anyone, if you know anybody with diabetes or you have it yourself, like, you understand that that's a serious thing. It's the same for animals. That was terrifying. I tried to get her up myself. I gave her some Caro syrup. That's kind of what you do for cats when they're low. You give a little bit of Caro syrup. Could not get her up, could not get her regulated. Libre monitor was saying 40s. I could not get a good prick on her either. She kept moving. Panicked. We go to the hospital. They are like, this is way too crazy. Let's lower this dose to 4 units. Shout out Dr. Dang. He is absolutely incredible. Bliss dressed up as Dr. Dang for Halloween. Insert image. Bliss being Dr. Dang for Halloween was adorable. Again, she's still so high and spilling ketones all the time. So keep in mind, she was at like, the range we've been talking about was like 450 to 40. They're supposed to be between 100 and 150. Now that is ideal. Anything below 70, you start to get a little bit nervous, and anything below 60 is like very, very, very serious. We're there, they stabilized her, everything like that. Eventually, with all these visits back and forth, someone told me to get an internist, an internal specialist. Because of all of the different complications that Bliss has, they basically said she's a poster child for that. The hospital luckily has internal specialists available, so they get Bliss in. We've been doing this like up and down with dosing and stuff with my primary vet and Dr. Ding for a while, so by the time we get to the internal specialist and have that appointment, it's early November. So internal specialist appointments are expensive. However, we needed at this point more help of somebody that can monitor all of these different things together, and that's their complete specialty. Dr. Ding does amazing, and I still go to my primary vet because they do her Libre monitors every 2 weeks, because we still have to get those, and the internal specialist is kind of just overall managing what is going on with Bliss. Internal specialist, they want to do another ultrasound to check on things, make sure she doesn't have pancreatitis or any other issues that are fighting with the insulin. Good news, nothing's fighting with the insulin. Bad news, something's not working still, and we don't know what. We got the pred down to the lowest dose possible without her having symptoms. And what the internal specialist has told me about diabetes is the biggest things is you don't want them to be spilling ketones high. You don't want them to be hypoglycemic at all, seizing and low. And you don't want them to have any symptoms, which I told you her big ones were the urination and the water drinking. We don't need like a right in between 100 and 150 on that scale the whole way along. We just need those 3 things. So knowing that goal made it a lot more realistic for me and for Bliss, and we've been trying to kind of go with that and do it that way. Bring us to where we are now, and for 6 weeks solid. 6 weeks solid. We had perfect in the chart, no highs, no lows, no symptoms, awesome. 3 weeks ago, the vet calls me, he's like, hey, let's make an appointment to get her back and just do a check-in. A week ago was the 3rd time that she had an asthma attack again. So now the respiratory shit's happening again. So now we might be possibly changing the pred. Changing the pred could affect the way the insulin works with her. She also had a low reading a couple days ago, and for the past week and a half since making that appointment, she has been chronically high and a little bit symptomatic again. So we don't know what has all of a sudden happened in the past week and a half since making this appointment to possibly feel like we're getting closer to an end. No idea. We're gonna go. We're gonna find out. We're still doing Libre monitors. We're getting a new Libre monitor tomorrow, and then we're going to the internal specialist. Oh, in 6 days. So not even that long. That has been 2 years of having Bliss. She's happy. She is healthy as she could be for Bliss. Truly. Send me your thoughts. Send us your thoughts, your prayers, your energies, your wishes, your luck, whatever it is. Send it this way. Give Bliss some love. She's so freaking cute. She knows every day when it is time for her shot. She runs right up to me and she's like, Mom, time for my shot. We had to change her diet again. I didn't even mention that part. There's so many details of like little things that are so minuscule in the grand scheme of it all. It is a long journey. It is going to still go on, and I have a very realistic expectation that it will always be finicky and a little bit difficult with Bliss. I would not change it for anything in the world. I truly, truly would not. I love her. I don't have much of a life because at 8 p.m. Gina is not out. 8 p.m. Gina is here giving Bliss insulin. 8 a.m. on a day Gina doesn't have work, she's up. She is everything to me. She really is. I hope you guys love her as much as I do. The sweaters. She can rip the Libre monitor off. She has figured out how to do that after all this time. So you get sweaters. But now she likes them. You're a vlogger. Thank you for listening to Bliss's journey and following along with us. Wish us good luck. She's hungry. We gotta do food and insulin. So that means Gina has no life right now, but wouldn't rather be anywhere else. Love you. Peace out, guys.